He's. I mean, that's. He's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's just nothing I can do. I mean, this is. It takes. I mean, I can swap the bishops here, but it's only going to be.
Was it a scenario you could imagine that he would avoid a real fight, or?
No, he sometimes does that. But I mean, he's 1.5 points behind me in the tournament, so.
A good moment to play for a win.
Yeah, one would think so. But
yeah.
He's an unscrutable fellow.
you know. Yeah. Well, it's obviously also a disappointment for you. I mean, there's nothing you can force, but at the same time, there goes.
I mean, you know, as I discussed with Peter just after the round, if you want to play something where White cannot force a draw by any means, I mean, you got to play flank openings. So that's what I did for the first few rounds, and look what it got me. So now I'm, now I felt like I should play something sensible, and if he wants to force a draw, he's a good player. So.
Yeah. So the modern defense has been removed from your repertoire, or
no? We'll see. But not not at this stage in the tournament. So.
Well, you're smiling. I mean, you're being realistic, but at the same time, I mean.
I'm a chess player. I like to play chess, and this is not chess. So this is just nonsense.
Yeah. So in fact, we shouldn't count this for your winning streak. I mean, somebody played another game against you in between.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not so concerned about that streak anyway.
No.
No. Not anymore. But let's look at the other games because they are really interesting. So we should close this one because this one sucks. How do we close this one?
Well, you just go to another one. Where you want to go? You want to
this one is interesting.
Yeah.
There are many interesting games today, actually.
Yeah.
This one, I have no clue what's going on. So it's this I think H4 is a move of Botvinnik's, if I'm not mistaken, and then this is a very interesting line because the play is. Complex strategically, and as you can see from the game, it's sometimes concrete as well. So,
and if Botvinnik played it, does it mean that it's very healthy?
Not necessarily. No. Botvinnik he was a surprisingly creative player, especially in opening analysis. He had very creative ideas, and I mean this is one of them. And it's funny the way that these. Ideas have survived into the modern age. So I know that So has studied Queen's Gambit very seriously. So he's probably well prepared here. But yeah, I kind of like white position. You get the knight to f3, you get the bishop here. You're always going to be one pawn down, maybe even two in some lines. But there's a lot of long-term compensation.
Well, you just said I have no clue what's going on here, which reminds me of what you said yesterday about your game. That at a certain point you said, I didn't understand the position, which I thought was quite something to hear from you. What was it that you didn't understand?
No, it's... I realized at some point that people don't like to hear that, because a couple of my friends were here for a couple of days, and we played some different video games, and one of them was winning all the time, and he was complaining all the time as well, which was extremely annoying. So I guess when I'm winning every game and still complaining about my play, people don't want to hear that. So from now on, not anymore.
I didn't see it as any whinging or, but it was just that I thought, what is it that he didn't understand? Because you were serious. I mean,
no, I was serious. Yeah. I mean, I didn't understand what was going on. So there were when for instance when he played c5, I was like, wow, I didn't see that one coming. And when I played the move c4, I didn't even imagine that his knight would once jump in there. I thought that was just restricting his light square bishop, and that was the theme of the day. But as I delved deeper, I realized, one, that I didn't understand what was going on, and well, that was the only point. There was no point to.
So which are the other games you...
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, this one I thought this might happen actually.
Okay, so Maxime again.
So this is the game Aronian, Grishuk Aronian from Norway Chess last year. Ivanchuk has a huge structural edge, but as you can see, he has no development whatsoever. And that game went, I think, knight d7.
That's the famous.
It's a famous queen trap.
Yeah.
And queen f5, which is a huge blunder. He should go queen a6, but anyway, his position is kind of dodgy. So queen f5, and now bishop d3. And if the queen goes here, that's it. And if e4, this still happened. If knight c5 then takes queen e2, and there will be a disaster on the e-file. While what happened in the game was rook f4 and the queen is trapped.
Which isn't an everyday occurrence in a Grandmaster game.
No, it isn't. So usually when the queen is trapped, there is some decent compensation, but Levon played on for like 20 moves, but it didn't matter. So I think this is the way that was recommended instead. But this is modern chess. I mean, this is.
You mean this has been seen on a computer screen before?
Yeah, it has.
And they went to sleep
but it's. I mean, even so, there is some logic to all the moves. Since again, the theme here is that black is doing well long term, so white needs to pound, exploit this huge advantage in development. So d6, opening the lines, long castle. Obviously, again, long term, that's not going to be a nice square for the king. But now bishop d3, f5, g4.
Oops.
And as I was talking, I was looking at these lines. Bishop d7, he takes. But I didn't. Frankly, I didn't understand why. So now he will take on f5, obviously.
So you have a couple of processes running.
But I didn't understand why white should be better here. Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's just doing this for fun. Who knows? It is a nice line. But it's probably gonna quiet down a bit, this one. And we'll see what happens.
Well, Maxime, he seemed to be getting close to his fourth win yesterday. He's one.
That's true.
He's 1 point behind, but still he is on a roll. Do you see him as one of the people who's still threatening you, or?
Yeah, I mean there are a couple of guys, Ding and Maxime, who I'm left to play. Who, I mean, if they beat me, then good for them. So, it's.
I mean, the people who are close behind you, those are also the ones that we.
It's still interesting, but so also this one was fun. I know that Anish played this a couple of times before. It's not as stupid as it looks. So no, but I mean, for anyone here, black has no development, no king. But
that looks
again, like Wojtaszek, he has some serious long-term trumps in his very solid pawn structure and bishop pair. So I guess Saric had some improvement ready on the Rajabov game. I think this is where Anish played rook c8 against Rajabov. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone? I don't know. So these moves, they rattled out very quickly. Now the position has a more static character. So I think to some extent Saric has done well here to get a position that's stable, and he has a plan of pushing on G file. It's hard to create counterplay for black here. And I don't know why Anish has been so eager to get his king to the king side, because it seems that it will be a target there. But who knows? So again, long term, black is fine, but whatever counterplay he has on the queen side will take a lot of time. And meanwhile, white can push on the king side with the queen side and the center relatively under control. Yeah. So it's funny. Right before the game, where do we have? Here we have
further
the
down.
guys. I told Luke something like he was talking about the way he wanted to maybe catch the first bus home or something like this, and I told him, well, he should play e4 then. I didn't think he would take me seriously though.
And he meant after a quick win, or
yeah, quick win.
yeah.
So, but then he kind of ruined the impression by playing bishop b5.
Oh yeah, there we go.
But this is a very interesting line as well. There are some sharp positions here. Black takes the pawn, the knight goes to g5 and so on. I'm sure who you found is still in prep. And I guess Luke has analyzed these lines with black, so I think he's not clueless here. And it's going to be interesting. So we have Rajabov, Faronian.
Oh yeah.
This is a well-known draw. So from the martial attack. So I think in the last round in 2008, Levon had this exact position with black against Judith Polgar. And since I was tied with him before the last round, I thought that was okay. And
so you could call this a silent draw agreement?
Yeah, I think Rajabov probably. I mean, there are days when he's ambitious, and this is not one of them. So.
Yeah. Well, you had a brief game, Magnus. Is that something that spoils your rhythm as well?
I don't know. It's so today not playing a real game and a free day tomorrow. That's 2 days without playing. So that's not ideal, but.
Well, those were the complaints last year by some players, that they said there were too many free days.
Yeah, it's very individual. Some people need rest. Some people need to stay in the rhythm. For instance, I very much felt that I needed the last rest day, and then during the rest day I got very restless. I had all of this energy that I couldn't use. So
yeah.
But
so there's no clear recipe for that. No. So it's back to the museum for you.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, it was fun to be at the museum. And I don't know much about art, so I tried to ask the questions I think a kid would ask.
Okay.
Like, how many cows are there in the painting? That was the first thing I thought about.
Yeah.
But they couldn't give me the answer, so
okay.
I thought, well, there's a question no one's asked.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned this cow and the I don't know much about art, because this is one of my favorite anecdotes about art. I think it was James McNeill Whistler. He was a painter, and he's going around, he has an exhibition, and there's a lady standing there, and she says, I may not know much about art, but I sure know what I like. And he says to her, yes, ma'am, so does a cow.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what they say in chess. Yeah, I don't know much about chess, but I can tell who's winning.
So it's a recipe for everything. Yeah. Maybe which game do you still want to look at? Are there any questions for Magnus? Is there anyone who wants to ask a question?
Well, apparently not. So we'll switch to. I think this is the game we haven't touched on yet. So this is known as the Jubava opening. He plays different variations of this one. Against me, he put the bishop on b2, b3, bishop b2. But what he wants is to put the knight on c3, and queen on d2 and castle queen side. And whenever he feels like it, he puts the bishop on b2 and sometimes the bishop on f4. But this one he has actually had very good results with. I mean, this looks like a Nimzo Indian, but the pawn is on c2 and the bishop is outside the pawn chain, so it doesn't actually look like Nimzo Indian. But
But it makes sense?
It makes some sense. G3, that's creative. I don't really get that, but yeah. It's I mean, Jabal he's a good player, so that's what I found out playing against him. He made some strange moves, to say the least, at the beginning, but then, well, after that he started to play very decently. So I don't.
Well, suddenly he repaired his position with a couple.
I mean, I think he has. He does have a very good understanding, and there's always some point to his play. So,
I mean, that's clear. He's not playing this just to be weird. I mean,
he has lots of good ideas. It's just that sometimes I guess they don't work, and still he thinks I played anyway. So well, but generally speaking, this is a good position for black. I mean, he will put the bishop on a6 or b7, play in the center, and for white, well, this is the position he would be okay with black, but not so much with white, I guess.
Well, before the tournament, many people thought that Fabiano would be the main threat to you. What happened? How do you see that?
It's funny. After 3 rounds, I was worried about being 1.5 points behind him.
Yeah.
So that changed pretty quickly. But he doesn't seem to be in his best shape. I mean, from the game yesterday, he's spending too much time. Also against Luki, he was playing okay, but he was spending too much time. It doesn't seem to be quite on. But
and that can be anything. I mean,
I don't think we should consider it a norm that he scores plus 7 in every tournament. No. So over the last years, he's had his ups and downs. He's had good tournaments. He's had bad tournaments. But he's a very good player. So I mean, even it feels like he's having at best a mediocre tournament, and he's still on +1 and could fight for one of the highest places.
Yeah. Where can he still improve before we go to this one? Because there's a question from one of the viewers who wants to know where Magnus Carlsen can still improve. What are the points where Fabiano...
I don't want to give him any tips.
Okay.
I don't know. He, like everyone, he can sometimes misjudge a position. He can miss stuff tactically. It's sort of the same with me. That I don't understand everything that's going on, but I try.
Is that the great thing about chess? That, I mean, you are so good and you run into things that you don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. And it was fun during the game against Aronian that I felt that I was learning quite a bit about the line we were playing during the game. So I was like, wow, I'm starting to understand these things. And it's not always so easy in preparation because you don't go that deeply, but during the game, it's so it quite often happens that it just happens to me during the game that now I understand this kind of position better, and
that keeps the appetite alive.
Yeah, it's happened over many years. That there are constantly some things that I see now that I didn't see before. And so,
yeah. Well, they said about Capablanca that at some point he said, "Well, I understand everything." Blah, blah, it's getting a bit. But did you ever have that feeling? Or
no, not even close. So
no,
and well, maybe a little bit, but then you soon get the wake up call. I mean, then you get completely outplayed in one game, and you get back to earth.
Yeah. Well, you never got back to earth, I think. Yeah. But so I think there's one more question. Your thoughts on Wojciech's play here?
Well, he's a good player, but he's not very practical. He tends to I mean, he tends to be very well prepared, but he tends to have very good plans, but he doesn't always. He sometimes misses tactics, and but well, against me,
I thought he beat two very strong players.
Yeah, he did.
Who were not very practical.
Against me, he played very well in the opening, he understood the position better than I did. And then I think at some point I was sort of making a comeback in the game, right before I blundered, and at some point I actually got too ambitious. I instead of keeping the status quo with a worse position but serious both objective and practical chances, I went for something else that I thought was interesting but just lost immediately.
So it wasn't the Dutch defense that was to be blamed? Or?
I mean, the position I got from the opening sucked, but that was my interpretation of the Dutch defense that was bad, not the opening itself. I mean, the opening itself, it's not great, but it's not that bad.
Oh. I always like Nigel Short's expression, another one bites the Dutch.
He's played quite a bit of Dutch himself. He's played some really bad Dutch defenses. Like he's played some stone walls with the knights on c6, and let me tell you, I mean, those are not good. Those are barely playable.
Yeah,
I'm sure you would agree.
Yes. Well, he's probably tweeting about it right now as we speak.
I think he's very happy to have his name mentioned on the air. So.
Oh yeah. That's the first thing he will agree to. Well, what's more important to you, playing for the love of the game or winning the tournament?
Why can't we combine the two?
You go for the best of two worlds.
Yeah, I try to play good chess always, but. In the end, I'm not one of those guys who can play 10 bad games in the tournament, then play 2 good ones, or two. I mean, if I play 10 bad games here and I win one game that's my best of all time, it would have been a very bad tournament. So most of all, I want to do well, and it's possible to play good, attractive chess while still keeping your objectivity. That's what I strive to do.
Yeah. But I mean, you're a very competitive person. Can you imagine playing a game that you lose and still feel some happiness?
I don't know. It would have to be something extraordinary.
Then something for the ages. Then Yeah. Do you follow the young kids in the tournament? I mean, as you entered the tournament as a young kid some years ago, and
I'm following the challengers group, of course. It was very very nice the last time we were in Rotterdam, and there was no chance to follow the games of the challengers group, so there were fewer distractions. I could think about my own game more. But it's there are many good games played there. Wei Yi, he's playing brilliantly, and Navarra obviously is a good player. I think Wei Yi has 26.75, and that was, I think, exactly the same that I had at his age. And then you can talk about inflation and so on. I won't do that.
No. How good is Wei Yi? Is he a spectacular talent?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to tell still whether he will be just a world-class player or one of the best, but he's really good, and he's a well-rounded player, not just a tactician.
Yeah. Who do you see as the best Chinese player at the moment? Because there's also still Yu Yangyi, who.
Yeah, I think Ding is the best player.
He's better than Yu Yangyi.
I think he has a lot more rating and he's a lot more accomplished. I mean, Yu Yangyi is he's going to be good as well, but I remember he played here last year in the Challengers group, and he struggled mightily. So
yeah, that's right.
He's had good results since, but I think Ding is better, and I think Wang Hao he's still good, but he's probably not playing professionally anymore.
Yeah, he's the artist.
Yeah.
Do you think that China can take over? I mean, they won the Olympiad, but are they going to be a huge force?
Yeah, I think they are already very good. They have been for many years, but they're still struggling to find that one guy who will be one of the very best.
And this might be Wei Yi?
Yeah, it could be. But also, I think India They have more players than China, especially at youth level. So I think right now it's probably more likely that India will dominate rather than China. But the Chinese will be there for many years, and it's a nice addition to.
How far do you go down on the rating list in the games that you follow of players? I mean, it was allegedly Mikhail Tal. He tried to follow anything. Where does it stop for you?
I follow almost anything. Yeah. I like the game both as a player and as a fan.
Okay. Yeah. And computer games?
If I'm really bored.
yeah, that's it. You want to have a last look at?
Let's see. So Anish has played knight to g4. So the computer says he's going to return with his knight to f6 in case queen f3 happens. I highly doubt that. I think he will play the queen to b6, try and win some dark squares. Yeah, it's a complicated position. It is, but yeah, probably black should be fine in some way. He just has to find the precise moves. Well, what can we say about this one?
You tell us.
Yeah, so I guess so is in his preparation.
You prepared for Fisher Random today, or?
Yeah, he's a lot of pieces down though. I mean, this is so. I was wondering for a moment why white doesn't go king d1. Then there's queen d3, bishop e3. So, well, this looks like one famous exercise where the shortest way to stalemate or something like this, where black sacrifices all the pieces on the queen side and somehow gets stalemated on the king side. But obviously here white needs to go knight d1 at some point, and black will take on e2, queen f3. It makes sense that there is a perpetual here. So,
well, what is your assessment of Wesley So? I mean, he's moved to the United States. He's playing for the United States now, and he's had some really good results recently.
Yeah, I think he's a good player. I think he's not one of the very best yet, and he still needs to get more experience. But you can get far even at this level with a very good tactical eye and excellent preparation. And that's what he's showing.
He should become a bit more enterprising still. I mean,
I don't know, but what can I say? He's doing well, but and I think also the field suits him. I don't know if he would be quite as comfortable playing more of the old guys like Vichy and Kramnik and so on.
Okay. And
but I mean, by all means, his result here speaks for itself.
Yeah. Well, then the main question: who will win the Australian Open?
I don't know. Did Nadal pull through?
I don't know.
Because he was playing fifth set when I was in the car. But I don't know. It's kind of disappointing that we won't have the final on the last day of the tournament, because that's a nice tradition.
Yeah. So how much sleep do you normally lose on the Australian Open?
No, not much. I mean, and the final is very good. The final is always very late in Australia, so I can watch it before the game. So, but it depends on my rhythm. If I get up at like 9 or 10, I can watch the evening match. It's a nice way to relax.
And then does it upset you if you have to leave before the final set is being played?
No.
Just heard Nadal escaped.
Escaped.
That's good.
Okay.
So this is still they're still playing very quickly. They've updated queen f3. King G1 and is taken on E2. Can we scroll down somehow? Well, never mind. And well, I'll bet you almost anything this is going to be a draw.
That's what they probably found at home.
Yeah, I mean, Ding he's very strong tactically, but I imagine he's probably analyzed this at some point as well. So, for all I know, this may even be known. I'm just bleeding ignorance. But yeah.
Okay, so let's try once again. Is there anyone who has a question for Magnus Carlsen? There is one.
Are you surprised that Ivanchuk didn't continue to play for a win? 1 point behind you?
Yes, a little bit. So I was thinking a bit in the opening, just trying to decide what he wanted. But then I realized at some point that what happened in the game was exactly what he wanted. So he does this. He does this sometimes. He plays a lot of very interesting, enterprising games, but then sometimes he just decides, especially with White, that well, today is not going to be the day. Today I'm going to make a draw. And, that's his choice. And obviously, if I'd known he was going to do this, I might have tried something differently. But it's not like it's a terrible result for me.
Could you explain maybe where in this opening of today Ivanchuk could have played more ambitiously?
Yeah, there are many options. For instance, there are many, but the most obvious one is here. Knight e4 is the main move and also more ambitious. And it was seen in the game Wesley So, who you found during earlier in the tournament. And that game was very interesting. Just 10 moves from now, So was under a mating attack. Well, he wasn't actually going to get mated, but there was a mate threat. So in this position, you cannot imagine that there will be a mate threat soon. But it just goes to show that interesting things can happen here. But when he plays like he does, in order not to be worse, I have to play this way, and that.
Yeah. Good.